Hi ladies and gents, it is Saturday evening, late evening, and you know what that means. It means it's the weekend, obviously. But it also means, in this case, it's time for some Iron Man building. And this is a little bit delayed because I actually have episodes or magazines 51, 52, 53 and 54, and also just received 55, 56, 57 and 58. Now, I didn't get this one out previously because of various bits of real life stuff getting in the way, family stuff and other bits and pieces that I needed to get done and sorted out. So this one's a little bit delayed, so apologies for those of you who were waiting. But in this one we have got some more parts of the left knee, right knee. Which foot did we make previously? Whichever foot we haven't made, it's the leg that accompanies it, or the knee of the leg that accompanies it. So carefully decanting the parts and placing that aside, we have the following bits. We have the ratchety bits, we have a tension spring, we have a plastic washer, and we have this metal knee hingey thing, and a couple of packets of screws. So I'm just going to go and grab the remainder of the knee, and we will get on. Oh yes, there's also these stickery bits. I missed these stickery bits. It's a good job that they fell out of the packet, otherwise I'd be looking for them. The stickery bits which go on this, which stick it into this metal bit. But anyway, I'll get the other bits and I'll be back in a second. So here's the other bit. So here's the other part of the knee. As you can see, we've already assembled one side with the ratchety bits which have been greased accordingly. And we are building up this side, which is the upper part. And the procedure is as follows. We need to place the stickers onto this plastic washer. This then goes into here, and we then need to screw this ratcheting piece down onto the leg using two LM screws. And then we can assemble the knee joint. Tighten those down like so. Right, zoomed in a little bit and sorted out the exposure to make that a bit clearer. What we're going to do now is I'm going to grease the mating surfaces as I did with this one, sort of fairly liberally, but not, you know, not hurling it on in bucketfuls or anything, especially seeing as I'm using watch grease, which, you know, I don't want to be wasting unnecessarily. Now this is a little tip that a friend of mine, Chris at Gross Models, who is also building this and several other partwork kits, so if you like to see partworks, pop over to Chris at Gross Models and have a look and see what he's up to. He's currently building Iron Man Ecto 1 kit, the Dodge Charger R2-D2, and goodness knows what else by now. Goodness knows. He's turning into Mr. Partwork, so, but thoroughly entertaining channel, good and good content, so please pop over, say hi, say that I sent you, and you get a complimentary cup of hot chocolate, and enjoy. And it was Chris who mentioned using or greasing or lubricating these, which has worked immensely well, I might add. And I used the watch grease because it's what I had to hand, obviously working on watches. And the good thing about oils and greases for watches is they are designed specifically to stay put and not spread, whereas things like 3-in-1 oil and the like are designed to do the exact opposite and spread. So in this case, what should happen is that this grease stays put and doesn't go wandering and spreading all over the place. So it stays put and does its job. So we pop the spring on, we pop the that one on the bottom bit of the joint, this one on the top bit of the joint, which I believe is completely correct, but I will just hop over the page to verify, as is good practice, especially when you have a habit of throwing things together and then finding out you're putting them together wrong, like I might have done on one occasion or another. So yes, so there we go. So that's those, and we then need the other half with its 2 plastic washers. Bear in mind, make sure these 2 plastic washers are in place. These then press onto here like so, and with a little bit of persuasion they press down and snap together nice and cleanly, smashing. And come on now, behave yourself. There we go. There we go. And then we use 2 IM screws, which we have in this packet here, to connect these 2 together. And come on. Now I'm going to have to let that pop apart while I get these out. But with the screws out, which I should have done first, really, because that would have been the sensible thing to do. But where's the fun in that, I hear you say? Indeed, couldn't agree more. We press these together and we take our screwdriver and we pop in where did that go? And we secure these and the springs really are incredibly strong on these. You really have to grip these to squeeze them together, which is why undoubtedly the knee joints are so stiff. But to be completely fair, having seen the size of the other leg and then imagining we've got a steel body to go on top of that, you can see why they need to be stiff. Obviously you don't want really weak friction joints which are just going to flop about and not work at all. So we'll tighten those up, and we then need a cap which fits into there. I'm not going to put that in just yet because you can never quite tell if you might need to do some minor bits of adjustment. And as you can see there, we've got clickety-clickety action, and we are good. We are good to go. So that's magazine 51, moving swiftly forward to magazine 52. Magazine 52, we have hip joint covers, which is like the rounded butt piece thingamabob, and a ball and socket type joint with a bearing ring bearing cap and a support thing and a couple of packets of screws which are screwing into plastic. So they are IP and LP. IP freely, like an old Simpsons joke. Anyway, they are IP and LP screws, the P denoting plastic, of course. And we already have built one of these, the hip joint, butt joint kind of thingamabobs. And the first thing we need to do is take this piece and which piece? This piece and this piece. Yes, marvellous. And this fits into and screws into here. Strangely, I don't remember doing that bit in the last one. I'm assuming I must have, but I don't remember doing that. And we need an LP screw. LP designating long play for those of a certain age, who would have to select a switch on their turntable. That's vinyl records for you young whippersnappers. And the LP was typically a large black vinyl 12-inch disc, which you put on a revolving turntable. You selected the LP option or the appropriate speed, which I believe was 33. 33 was for LPs and 45 was for singles, CD singles. That was the RPM speed. And you would select the appropriate speed, and then you would, on an antiquated one, you would lift and place the needle at the outer groove of the record, and it would wind its way inwards. On a modern, flashy, fancy, all-singing, all-dancing one, you would press a button, and the needle would lift, gracefully swoop across, and land itself on the outer edge, according to whether you had selected LP or SP, of course, because SP, which is short play, which was your 7-inch single, was a much, much smaller disc. So if you did that with an automatic start, it would start somewhere in the middle and play way too fast or too slow. Was it the whichever way around? Anyway, yes. And that's going completely off the point and got nothing whatsoever to do with the Iron Man build. But I just thought I would mention that. So there you go. For those of you who don't remember LPs, that's how we used to roll back in the day, when we used to listen to hip and happening tracks and all that jazz. And jazz, in fact, for that matter, sometimes. Although I didn't personally have any jazz. Nor did my family. My dad was more of a kind of country and western kind of guy. And my brother was all heavily into pop music. I was more rock kind of stuff when I started collecting records, but hey. So, the next thing we need to do is we need to take the ball jointy bit, and we need to take this plastic cup bit. We need to put that into there. And I'm guessing, now, this is by my amazing powers of deduction that we are going to use an IP screw to secure this. And, I mean, we're talking, amazing powers of deduction there, right? I know, what can I say? So, we take out an IP screw, we fling it across the desk. Unintentionally, we find it, we pick it up, we put it in there, and we fasten it in. And this, of course, is going to make a ball jointy kind of thing, because it's obviously a ball, isn't it? And it fits into there. And obviously, at some point, but not at this particular point in time, this is going to fit into here somehow. Come on, play nice, play nice. There we go. It's going to fit into here like this. And that will make a ball jointy swivelly thing without falling out, as it's just done, obviously, because there's nothing holding it in. And yeah, there you go. So that's that bit. Fabulous. So I'll just flip the page just to make sure. And yep, sure enough, that's all we do on that one. So that's magazine 52. Moving rapidly on to 53. Magazine 53, I recognise these components because these are the massive hip components. They're like hip as in the actual hip of the Iron Man, not hip as in hip and happening, although Iron Man is quite hip and happening, especially in the latest renditions. Maybe not the vintage suit, because that was a bit cheesy. I mean, to be honest, that was probably cheesy in the standards of the day, and oh man, that doesn't look good. The new MCU movie suit, of course, however, is the business, which is why we are building this. Goes without saying. So, what we do here is we place this shiny plate onto this not shiny bit, and it slots into place with 3 locating pegs, which I just had in place, and then they wouldn't work. There we go. Like so, and we use, I believe, 3 IP screws to secure this, and we do indeed. Now we have more than 4 IP screws in this packet. So that means, ladies and gentlemen, that we are using more than 3 screws. Powers of deduction in operation again there. I bet you're impressed. I can tell you're impressed. Having fitted 3 screws to secure this piece, I can now see that we have left 2 screws and 1 in the packet, which means, of course, we need 2 screws to fit this trim plate, which fits like so. Ta-da! And this completes magazine 53. Another short but sweet one. So we'll pop that aside and just a quick flick of the page to check, and sure enough. So on to 54. And magazine 54 demands that we need the foot, the right foot, because this is the bit that joins the foot to the swivelly ankly bit. Now, I could make some terrible joke about something being a foot, but I'm above all that, frankly. That's just too childish. I would never do such a thing. Pfft, the thought, the very thought. So, we have shin bit, we have a slotted peggy bit, we have a thick washery kind of thing, two thin washery kind of things, and we have two long MP screws. Because they're screwing into plastic, obviously. So we need one of those. That goes without saying, even though I've just said it. We need the foot, which I still need to glue the magnet back into this on. So just ignore that for the moment, please. There's the magnet, which, oops, has just fallen down the side. Ah, no, I've lost it. Oh. Hang on, technical. Oh, phew, it sprung back out. Yes, I was just going to say stand by for technical errors and all that business. Anyway, so we need ankly bit, we need washery bits, thin washery bits, and I'm just going to scoot in so you can see what's going on. Zoom. These washery bits, I believe, fit on either side. Oops. If I can pick them up, fit on either side of... Do they fit on either side? Yeah. One's got a recess, oddly. I'll just show you there. One's got a kind of a recess there, so that sits in really nicely, which is... when it doesn't fall off, come on. Sits in really nicely, which is good. The other side doesn't, so that's a little unusual, but hopefully we'll be able to hold that in place. I don't remember from when I built the last one so exactly how that went, but I'm assuming it's, yeah, there we go. So what we do is we take the foot and we slot that into place with a little bit of, wiggling is going to be required, I think. We need to put this peg piece in from the right hand side, and that, oh, no, it's all falling apart. Deep breath. Okay, let's do that again. So we place the washers like so. We place these into here like so, without trying not to displace the washer. We place the little peg bit into, So after wrestling with that and finally getting it in, we pop the pin in. We pop this in the other side, like so. And then we fasten a screw through the right-hand side. We take this ridiculously long screw, pop it into there, and we secure the ankle accordingly. And add a little bit of tension. There we go, a little bit more. Nice and tight, because it's obviously got to support a fair amount of weight. So yeah, we want a bit of tension on that. And we now have a swilly, forwardy, backy, ankly thing. And obviously that, once I've glued that back in place, which I will get round to that. And there we have a completed right foot. Hurrah! So we are close, we're getting close to the leg. Let's zoom back out. So this is magazine 54. Now, I was just going to dive straight into the next set of 4. However, I'm just going to do the boring magazine bits for you people who like the boring magazine bits. And in order to not make these videos too long, I'm going to do the next 4 separately, as I ordinarily would. So, magazine 51, model 916. Ooh, no, model 616. I was just thinking it was Ducati model, but no. Model 616. Okay, so that's the mark. Is that the same as the marks of armour that they use in the MCU movies, maybe? I don't know. Inside, we have got some stuff about the Mandarin. Enter the Mandarin. Some more stuff about the Mandarin. We've got the Build-A-Bits. We've got more Build-A-Bits. We've got Tin Man, a fragile hero. Heart and back problems, self-induced amnesia, alcoholic episodes, a coma, post-traumatic stress, and 3 or 4 deaths. Tony Stark's long medical history would be worthy of study by the best doctors in the world. Yes, indeed. So, yes, we've got some Iron Man medical stuff. Deliberate amnesia. We've got Tony Stark looking a bit like John Holmes and having a bit of a drink there. And we have got Model 616, new colours, black and gold. That actually looks kind of cool, I've got to say. I sort of like that, yeah. Very sort of iconic Porsche Sports kind of. Yeah, anyway. Stealth armour and what I assume to be Hulkbuster, maybe. And, oh, there we go. World War Hulk, Iron Man. With Hulk punching off an Iron Man helmet. Hopefully that wouldn't have somebody's head inside it, you know. So yes, we've got some Hulk related stuff, and obviously that's well, that's like Hulk's Ragnarok kind of armour. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. We like that. And there is there's Hulk and Iron Man having a bit of a punch up. Build-A-Bits. And Reed Richards, Super Geniuses team up. Reed Richards, of course, being Mr. Stretchy Elasticy Man from the Fantastic Four, who battles the forces of evil along with Mrs. Can't See Her Girl, Mr. Made of Rock, and Mr. Oh My God, I'm on Fire, or something like that. The Atomic Knights. Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Mr. Fantastic, Professor X, and Captain America. Now that is quite a combination. That's interesting. I like the idea of that one. Stealth 4, Unseeing Eyes, obviously stealth armour. That's kind of cool looking. Yeah. So that's magazine 52. Magazine 53, we've got some sort of vintage looking, but more modern take on vintage looking, like the Mark 1 kind of thing. Powerful Avengers, Official Avengers, the Mighty Avengers. The Ultron Crisis. Now, if Ultron had looked like that in the movies, I would have been rooting for it quite a bit more. And maybe not so much about the wiping out humanity bit, but you know what I mean. Wonder Man, Sentry, Black Widow, Ares, and Wasp. I have heard of those two because of the movies. Obviously, not a comic book geeky fan and all the rest of it. So I'm sure you guys out there that like the comic books will be aware of who these people are. Better than I will, but there you go. Wasp, obviously, Ant-Man and Wasp, and Black Widow right throughout the MCU movies. Build-A-Bits. Also Iron Man, the Iron Legion, and that looks like the classic sort of cheesy Iron Man suit. And older cartoony style drawings, that looks like the stealth armour again that we saw in the last one. War Machine. And that looks like James Rhodes in just a classic Iron Man armour rather than an actual War Machine one. But then I suppose the original armour that he took, mind you, no, the original one that he took in the movies was silver, wasn't it? It was before the red gold. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just kind of spitballing, making this up as I go along. Heavy duty armour for tough missions. So that's like badass, big bulky Iron Man or something. And then we have got magazine 54. Deep space armour. I quite like that. That's got a bit of an Ultron vibe with the eyes, but I kind of like that helmet. I think it's pretty cool. Ultimate Origin, the definitive history. Ultimate Origin, the definitive history. And Ultimate Iron Man, robot or armour. So we have got the builder bits, which we've just seen. Maya Hansen, Capability and Conscience. Maya Hansen, was she the one that did the what did they call it? Oh, dang. Oh, by crikey! What was the name of it? The one with the fake Mandarin. Not Genesis. What? Extremis. That's the word I'm looking for. Yes, she's the Extremis scientisty with her exploding plant thing. Yeah, there we go. Deep Space Armour, A Night in Space, Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 1. Oh, there we go. So that's kind of cool looking. A bit, I like the sort of nose shieldy bit on that. That's pretty funky. Got to say, some of the comic book armours are pretty cool. Pretty cool. So that's the magazines from episodes 51 to 52, 53 and 54. Thank you for watching this one. Join us for the next one, which will be here sooner than you think. If you like this content, don't forget to like, subscribe and click that bell. Thank you very much.